Why is the calmest person in the room so often the one with the most money? It is rarely the loudest or the flashiest. It is the one who orders without scanning the prices and never once brings up what they earn. That calm has a source, and it has almost nothing to do with the size of a paycheck. Real wealth tends to show up as a kind of quiet you can feel across a table, and it leaves fingerprints, 10 of them. Learn to read them, and a shiny surface will never fool you again. We treat a big salary and real money as if they are the same thing, and they are not even close. A salary is what shows up in your account. Wealth is what is still standing after the showing up is done. You can earn a fortune and keep almost none of it, and an astonishing number of people do exactly that. A recent Goldman Sachs survey found that 41% of households earning between $300,000 and $500,000 a year describe themselves as living paycheck to paycheck. $500,000 flowing in and nothing left standing at the end of the month. Bank of America found roughly 1 in 5 households earning over $150,000 a year in the same trap. Meanwhile, a schoolteacher to towns over steadily builds a 7-figure net worth on a fraction of that income. Most American millionaires are not trust fund heirs coasting on family money. In the largest study of them ever conducted, 79% received no inheritance whatsoever, and the typical person did not reach that first million until around age 49. They built it slowly on ordinary incomes, using the exact quiet habits we are about to cover. The paycheck lies. The behavior tells the truth. So let me walk you through the 10 signs that reveal who actually has money, no matter what their job title or their car or their zip code seems to say. Number 1. Their money shows up to work even when they don't. High earner trades hours for dollars. And the second they stop working, the dollars stop too. Someone with real money has quietly built the opposite arrangement, where the money earns money on its own around the clock. $100,000 sitting invested and touched at an average 8%. Return roughly quadruples over 20 years, turning into more than $460,000 without a single additional deposit. Take Yolanda, a warehouse manager who never once cracked 6 figures. She spent decades funneling every raise and tax refund into index funds instead of upgrades. And by her early 50s, the income those investments threw off had passed what her actual job paid her. Dividends, interest, rental checks. The steady gains from index funds, all of it arrives whether or not you set an alarm. Contrast that with the high earner one seat over who is one lost client away from panic because every dollar in their life is tied to their own 2 hands. Number 2. A surprise bill is an inconvenience, not a catastrophe. Roughly 1 in 3 Americans could not cover an unexpected $400 expense without borrowing the money or selling something to get it. So when a $3,000 bill lands, it ripples through the budget for months, often landing on a credit card at brutal interest. Someone with real money keeps a genuine emergency fund, usually 3 to 6 months of expenses, sitting in a high-yield savings account earning around 4%, while the national average savings account still pays only about a third of 1%, meaning on $10,000 a big bank hands you around $38 a year, while a high-yield account pays roughly $400. Portia, a pediatric nurse, keeps 6 months of expenses parked and boring. When her car needed a $2,000 repair last winter, it did not even register as stress. It was a Tuesday. Number 3. The car in the driveway is boring on purpose. The average new car payment hit a record this year, climbing to about $770 a month. And nearly 1 in 5 new car loans now carries a payment over $1,000. Most of them for ordinary trucks and SUVs on very long loans. Take that $770 payment and invest it instead. Over 30 years at 8%, it grows into more than $1.1 million. So the car payment is really $1 million decision handed to a hunk of metal that loses value the moment it leaves the lot. An Experian study showed that 61% of households earning over $250,000 a year do not drive luxury brands at all. And Ramsey's study of more than 10,000 American millionaires found that 84% credited skipping car payments as a key reason they built their wealth. Number 4. The credit card gets paid in full every single time. In that same study of over 10,000 millionaires, nearly 3/4 said they have never carried a credit card balance in their whole lives, not once. Compared to a country where a huge share of active card accounts carry a balance at interest rates north of 20%, even 62% of people earning over $300,000 a year still wrestle with credit card debt, carry a $5,000 balance at 22% interest, and you can pay well over $1,000 a year just in interest. Money that buys you nothing and guarantees you stay a step behind. People with real money use credit cards constantly for the points and convenience, but the balance drops to zero the moment the statement arrives, without fail. Number 5. They are comfortable being the one who says no. It shows up as the friend who skips the destination bachelor trip, the coworker who passes on group lunch and brings food from home without embarrassment. In the Ramsey research, 94% of millionaires said they live on less than they make, and that gap between earning and spending is protected by saying no far more often than saying yes. The same study found these are people who use a grocery list, clip coupons, and spend $100 a month or less at restaurants long after they no longer have to. Georgia, a software engineer, still drives the same modest car she bought used years ago, and she is on track to retire more than a decade before her flashier co-workers will. Number 6. They buy back time, not stuff. Ask someone with real money what their money is actually for, and the answer is rarely a bigger house or a nicer watch. It is the freedom to walk away from a job they hate, to take a random Tuesday off. Past a certain point, money stops being about buying more and starts being about removing friction. The late fees, the overdraft warnings, the low hum of dread that follows anyone living one bad month from real trouble. Chelene built a small business over 15 years, and the moment her investments could reliably cover her family's core expenses, she did not run out and buy a boat. She cut her own workweek down and started coaching her daughter's team. You cannot photograph freedom, but you can spot it in how unhurried certain people are with their own days. Number 7. Their money has a job before it ever hits their checking account. Most people save whatever is left at the end of the month, and there is almost never anything left. Wealthy people flip the order. A slice goes straight into retirement accounts, another into investments, another into savings, all automated before it can be casually spent. A median earner who saves 20% of a $60,000 income, investing $12,000 a year at 7%, ends up with more than $1.1 million after 30 years, while a high earner pulling $150,000 who only manages to invest $4,500 a year lands at around $425,000. The U.S. personal savings rate right now is only about 4.5%, and real wealth gets built by people who automatically save multiples, if that before they ever see the cash. Number 8. They own things that pay them and avoid things that only cost them. If you strip this entire list down to one idea, this is the one. An asset puts money into your pocket over time. A liability pulls money right back out. The boat, the third television, the closet full of things that lose value instantly. All of that is liabilities dressed up as success. An index fund, a rental property, an ownership stake in a business, a dividend-paying stock. All send money back toward you month after month, year after year. Brianna, a plumber who made a very ordinary living, spent 2 decades buying small and glamorous rental units in her own town, instead of steadily upgrading her lifestyle. Today, the rent checks alone outpace what she ever earned holding a wrench from the street. She looks exactly like every neighbor on her block. On paper, she is nothing like them. Federal Reserve data shows homeowners carry an average net worth close to $1.5 million, while renters sit closer to $150,000. And much of that gap comes down to who owns the appreciating asset and who is only ever paying for the roof over their head. Most millionaires also do this the boring, tax-smart way, maxing out tax-advantaged accounts like a 401k, which this year lets you shelter up to $24,500 before tax even touches it. Number 9. Their investing is aggressively boring. There is a persistent fantasy that rich people got there by picking one perfect stock or timing a brilliant trade. In the study of more than 10,000 millionaires, roughly 75% said the real reason they built their wealth was regular, consistent investing over a long stretch of time. Not a single one named single stock gambling as a major factor. And it did not even crack the top 3 reasons. They bought broad, low-cost index funds, added to them every month like clockwork. Then did the hardest task in all of finance, which is doing nothing at all, staying invested through crash and scares while the years compounded. $500 a month invested at 8% becomes about $745,000 over 30 years. And you personally only put in $180,000 of that total. Everything above that line is time doing the work for you. The people chasing the thrilling play, the hot crypto, the meme stock, tend to be the ones with the loudest stories and the emptiest accounts. Number 10. They can tell you their net worth, but they will never tell you their salary. Ask most people how they are doing financially and they answer with their income. Ask someone with real money and they think in a completely different currency. Net worth, everything they own minus everything they owe. The median American household net worth sits around $190,000, and cracking the top 10% of the country takes roughly $1.9 million. Isabel, a retired teacher, could tell you her net worth to the nearest few $1,000 without hesitating, but would find it strange to tell you her old salary, because the salary was never the point. Only the raw materials she used to build something that lasts. So look again at that calm person at the table. Their peace is not a lucky personality trait. It is the slow compounding result of money that works without them. A cushion that turns emergencies into errands. A boring car, a zero balance, an easy no. Time they bought back. Savings that move on autopilot. Assets instead of liabilities. And a clear focus on what they keep instead of what they earn. None of it is loud, and that is the whole reason it works. Real money was never the number printed on the paycheck. It is the distance between what comes in and what actually stays, and the freedom that quiet gap buys back for you. Tell me in the comments which of these 10 signs hit you hardest, and which one you already do without even thinking about it.